The New York Giants, what images their colors recall. Championships constructed from a squint-eyed, sweaty, tough defense. The Giants' personality, short on finesse, long on tough. Players that dealt punishment on both sides of the ball, and it worked. Evidence 2 Super Bowl titles. Recent Kansas City teams have been molded in the Giant manner, starting with a lick-its-chops, rush-the-passer defense that delights in destruction. The Chiefs aren't kidding when they catapult their defense at opposing quarterbacks, led by home run hitting Neil Smith. Also in the Chiefs batting order, number 58, Derek Thomas, whose sensational play is remindful of his Giant hero, Lawrence Taylor. Thomas's sack attack pleasing to a coach's soul, whose Super Bowl focus included acquiring veteran quarterback David Craig. His job to engineer a relentless, grinding ground game that marinates defenses with 260-pound Christian Okoye. Add punishment with 245-pounder Barry Word and 230 pounds of Harvey Williams. Ask the Giants. The formula is proven.
Hey, let's go, man. Let's go. Want a piece of that championship? Put it in here.
Giant Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey. 77,311 sold-out tickets. About 40,000 here on this Saturday afternoon. A perfect day. Temperature 45 degrees, no wind. Kansas City looks for their playoff spot. A win will do it. 2 wins, and they are the AFC Western champions as they battle with San Diego. Hello, everyone. Dick Enberg with Bob Trumpy. There certainly is big motivation there. Schottenheimer saying, hey, let's go for that championship. Is that the whole story?
No, Dick, and you know, last night talking to Derek Thomas, an interesting note to us, they talked to Marty Schottenheimer about the workload. He kind of gave him a few minutes off. He also said that if you guys win today, I will give you Monday off. And all of a sudden, Derek Thomas and his teammates are excited about the win and the day off.
He says, that's what we're motivated to be off on Monday. There's Lawrence Taylor, as he is the honorary captain, along with his teammates, out of uniform, but he'll toss the coin today. One of the all-time greats in this game, Taylor. And the testimony offered by those who have played against him, coached against him, played with him on our NFL Live report, certainly indicative of the high regard in which he is held throughout the league. Lawrence Taylor. Boy, did anyone ever get around the corner faster than Taylor?
Yeah. The pregame folks left out a very important name in my estimation about outside linebackers, and that's Ted Hendricks. But we'll discuss that later. He certainly revolutionized the outside linebacker spot, Dick.
So Taylor will be on the sidelines today. So the New York Giants, they've lost 5 in a row. That's the longest losing streak, non-strike, going all the way back to 1980. They played a terrible game last week at Phoenix. Will they play well today?
Dick, I think they have some incentive to play well. Personal pride, of course, and this is not a team that has nothing going for it. When you look at their offense, this is a quality offensive line, and they have a running back behind it that I think is one of the best in the game. Rodney Hampton already collected his 1,000 yards this year, second straight year at 1,000 yards. He is a big, strong back with good speed. There's something that the New York Giants can rely on. And in a game where, you know, there's nothing more at stake, Ray Handley can count on the offensive line and Rodney Hampton to at least make it interesting against the Kansas City Chiefs.
There's Handley. He's 48 years of age. He was an All-America running back at Stanford. 2 years ago, interestingly, when Bill Parcells talked him into staying here and replacing him, he was on his way to George Washington University Law School. He had decided to give up coaching and become a lawyer. He may have another opportunity soon based on all the reports you hear, both inside, outside the stadium, and inside and outside the locker room. A good man, a good coach. He was almost in a no-win following the remarkably successful Bill Parcells. Nick Lowry, you talk about men who have lasted and excelled. Lowry, now the number 3 field goal kicker in NFL history, sends it high, and the Giants get it first. Dave Meggett at the 6. And Mincy brings him down at the 30-yard line. On comes the Hoss, Jeff Hostetler. Hostetler from West Virginia, who was the Super Bowl hero 2 years ago in relief of Phil Simms, has a good offensive line, as Bob Trumpy indicated. Jumbo Elliott, Roberts, Oates, Cratch, Riesenberg. They'll open some holes. Hostetler has Hampton, the 1,000-yard rusher again, with a Michigan second-year man, Gerard Bunch, Ingram, and Callaway, joined by Baker and McCaffrey and Meggett in the 4-wide receiver set used by Handley. First down play, and it's Hampton getting a couple into the arms of Big Dan Saliamua and Martin Bayless, number 30. Here's the front seven: Neil Smith, Joe Phillips, the ex-Charger, Saliamua, and Leonard Griffin. They've gone to the 4-3 the last several games. Martin, Simeon, and Thomas, the linebackers. Dale Carter could be Rookie of the Year. Kevin Ross at the other corner. Bayless and Mincio, the safeties. And in the dime, Benny Thompson. What a Plan B pickup. Doug Terry, a rookie, and J.C. Pearson come in. Thomas lining up on the left side. On 2nd and 7, Bunch nailed in the backfield as charging through was Tracy Simeon. Marty Schottenheimer calls the most improved player on this team.
Dick, when you talk about the front seven of a defense, the Kansas City Chiefs have meat and they have speed. Good field here by Simeon. Comes right outside to see the offensive tackle, 72, Riesenberg. Can't lay a glove on him. Stops Bunch for a loss, so it brings up 3rd and 10. This is an outstanding group of linebackers. Some of them that are hurt for Kansas City. Maybe next year will be starters too.
On 3rd and 10, Hostetler in the shotgun. 4 wide receivers. McCaffrey moving into the backfield along with Meggett. Ooh, Thomas close to the sack, and the catch made by Cab Callaway, number 80. It'll be good for a first down at the 42-yard line. 13 yards on the play.
Dick, this is an aspect of the Giants offense that with Hostetler in there is a very good part of their offense. See Callaway running the end, Ross on the coverage. They put Meggett in the backfield, and you have single coverage all over the field. And Chris Callaway, not a tall receiver, but a very strong receiver for the New York Giants. First down.
Plan B pickup from the Steelers this year for the Giants. This early possession is going to be key to the Giants' entire attitude today. Hostetler, he finds Callaway again. That'll be another first down at the 45-yard line of Kansas City. Kevin Ross, the defender.
Dick, I think you make a very valid point. Early stages of a game when a team has lost 5 straight, you're looking to psychologically build somehow. Hostetler with that post-concussion syndrome, taking a chance out there, found a favorite receiver. Again, it's Chris Callaway. 2 passes, 2 receptions, and their second first down.
And you have to admire Bob Hostetler. Been very easy for him. He's been busy, sick to his stomach. Says he feels like he's been at an entertainment amusement park for the last month. To just sit out the end of the year, and that one had defeat spelled all over. Number 58 Thomas dumps Hampton for a loss. That he just, until this week, just didn't even have his stomach set, like taking that roller coaster ride and never getting over the dizziness. And yet he said, in part because of the abuse to Handley, even an incident to picking up his wife at the airport.
And Handley went to pick up his wife Joanne at the airport, and people at the airport in Newark were still chanting "Ray must go." So a lot of the Giant players have taken it personally, and no one deserves the disrespect like Ray Handley's gotten in the last 6 weeks here in New York. No one.
Second down, 14. Hostetler always good on the scramble. Couldn't get a block from Hampton, and so coming up to make the stop, J.C. Pearson at the 45-yard line. Had Hampton been able to take care of Pearson, there was another 10 yards for grabs.
So far, excellent pass protection by the Giants offensive line. Hostetler is one of those guys, Dick, that maybe his greatest attribute is his competitive spirit. I mean, he's just not going to give in to the opponent. He's not going to give in to the upset stomach. He's going to play the consummate professional and get out there for his team and do what he can. Probably his only problem, he's not a real vocal guy. He's not a real leader vocally the way Phil Simms is for the New York Giants, or was.
The Haas dumps it off. Dave Meggett picked up by Dan Saliamua. The big guy who plays in the middle of the line will drift back on passes like that and make the play. And so the Giants stall at the Kansas City 44. In to punt, Ruben Rodriguez, who earned the uncomplimentary nickname at Seattle of Senor Shank. Replacing one of the, well, elements that the Giants missed maybe as much as anything else, Sean Landeta, his big leg. Huge spiral, but that's going to carry all the way into the end zone. And on the touchback, Kansas City will get it at the 20, 44 yards on the kick, 24 net. No score. Kansas City puts it in play.
September 1957. Road and track on the Volvo 444. With a car like this, who needs a sports car? October 1992. History repeats itself.
Just try Black & Decker's Power Driver with torque control. You'll notice one major difference, the clutch. The higher the setting, the more powerful it gets. Power Driver and Power Driver with torque control from Black & Decker.
Everybody wants a battery that goes the distance, but you never know when they're about to run out of gas. Only Duracell has the Copper Top battery tester, so you can be sure your batteries will keep going down the road. You can't top the Copper Top.
Come on, let me show you where it's at. Ooh, come on, let me show you where it's at. Come on, let me show you where it's at. Miller Lite, I like it like that.
When you're calling for great taste and a less filling beer, one beer's made to order. Miller Lite. It's everything you want a beer to be.
Ooh, I like it like that. Come on, let me show you where it's at. Ooh, come on.
Kansas City's offense on the field. Their newest member, Mike Babb. He's in your crossword puzzle as the NFL palindrome. That's a big, strong line that protects David Craig, the former Seahawk, who is now the quarterback. Christian Okoye will be the starter. We'll see a lot of Harvey Williams today. Probably not much of Barry Word. McNair joins him. Keith Cash comes in. Pass situations, a double tight end. Burden and Davis are the speed outside and a almost totally rebuilt wide receiver core by Schottenheimer this year. Play action, first play, and Craig underneath. Kimball Anders, a surprise starter, and that's a special play for Schottenheimer. Anders, a free agent out of Houston, a big game, 28 yards out to the 48.
This is a guy, watch him sneak through the line of scrimmage there. The little fake. Ed Reynolds, 95, lets him go. Craig finds him. This is a young man who went to the University of Houston and ran the run and shoot down there. You know he can catch the football. They're just still discovering what Kimball Anders can do for the Kansas City Chiefs.
And another big back, over 220 pounds. His quarterback for the Cougars, of course, was Andre Ware. So Craig out throwing on the first two downs. Has to eat this one at the 50 after a gain or two, a yard or two. Corey Miller, who has replaced Lawrence Taylor, makes the stop. Eric Dorsey, Eric Howard, and Leonard Marshall, familiar names in the front three. Banks, Johnson, Reynolds, and Miller. The backers with Felipe Sparks getting the start. Mark Collins will not play at the corner for the Giants. Perry Williams, the veteran, at the other side. Myron Guyton and Greg Jackson at safety. They're billing Jackson as a Pro Bowler. Renee Thompson and a big young hitter, Lamar McGriggs, come in the dime. Rod Rust, this year the defensive coordinator, and a lot of the controversy in the Giant clubhouse surrounds Rust's scheme. Okoye bowling to the 44, where it'll be 3rd and 2. Johnson and Miller, the tacklers.
Christian Okoye is a guy that, against a 34 defense, Dick, they like to use Christian Okoye because he goes to the bubble. Watch the tight end wham here. Down on the inside as you look for ways to run big guys like Okoye in there. And you can see that Howard Mudd, the offensive line coach, and Marty Schottenheimer have found another way to really upset defensive linemen. They do not like tight ends coming down on them.
They're going to have to get To draw another play showing what the bubble's all about.
Bubble,
A
yeah.
lot of them burst around here.
Yes.
I'd like to see how you find the bubble. On 3rd and 2, Okoye, big hole on 3rd down, and the Giants just have not been able to stop the run the last month since Taylor's been out of the lineup. 12 yards.
You can't just blame it on Lawrence Taylor. So far, 6 running backs in this 1992 season have gone over the 100-yard mark. You see a good shove by that Kansas City offensive line. This game not starting defensively the way the New York Giants had hoped. In years gone past, they didn't allow anybody to run for 100 yards. Everybody's doing it now.
What a quiet crowd. The Saturday audience. Okoye. And he stacked up after a yard gain. But even though there wasn't much there, the offensive line of the Chiefs had moved the Giants back 2 yards before he met any contact.
Big Bo. These guys up front get little or no credit. Matter of fact, in our conversation last night with Dave Craig, he said to us, why don't these guys get credit? That's Lutz. You saw Alt. You saw Mike Babb, 60, who 2 weeks ago was up in Cleveland just enjoying a retired life. Schottenheimer calls him. And, of course, he was with Marty for 4 years in Cleveland, so he came in knowing the offense, and he's replacing Grunhard at center and not doing too bad a job.
That's Keith Cash, the tight end in motion on 2nd and 9. Craig to Barnett, knocked away by Felipe Sparks, the rookie from Arizona State. I figures they'll be picking on him. He'll get some action today.
Barnett should have come back for that football. Sometimes receivers get lazy out of the break. Watch how he rounds that pattern off. See, he drifts a good 3 yards up the field and allows 22 Felipe Sparks to get there and knock the ball away. Both looking back at the football. Incidental contact, no flag thrown, but Barnett knows better than that. Very poor fundamentals on that pattern.
The top pick of the Giants this spring, 3rd and 9. The fingertips of Willie Davis, who's had a sensational year, leads the NFL in yards per catch, over 21 per reception, but that one off his fingertips.
Boy, he should have caught that one. You see 84 with Renee Thompson in coverage. He stopped. He hesitated for a moment, and Craig was motioning to him after the play, keep moving. You got to keep moving.
Well, it would be a 49-yard field goal or a short punt. Marty Schottenheimer says go for it on 4th and 9 at the 32.
Well, that's not showing much respect for the New York Giants, Dick. Certainly wouldn't have done it previous seasons.
But if you miss the field goal, they get it at the 32 anyway. Craig. And it could be a fumble. Recovered by Craig at the 30, but it'll be the Giants' ball. They hold on downs, and Ray Hanley will send in the offense. That awakened the crowd. Corey Miller appeared to be the man who knocked the ball free from McNair.
He just runs the circle pattern out of the backfield. And you can see the outlet receiver that Craig is going to. Grabs him by the jersey. Dave Craig comes up with a fumble recovery, number 17. Unusual in that he leads the NFL.
Well, he's had a lot of practice trying to recover fumbles. Sorry, Dave. Timeout, no score, 5.5 left in the opening quarter.
I feel fantastic. For 40 years, I've been eating grape nuts and feeling great.
Why does John Flays love grape nuts so much?
If you eat something like grape nuts that is fat-free, I feel good.
Grape nuts, the fat-free natural energy source.
I'm talking about a natural energy that stays with you all morning. I love the taste of grape nuts, and I like the texture of it. Trying other cereals brings me right back to grape nuts.
Breakfast with post-grape nut cereal helps keep you going strong all morning long.
Take a week. Try them. I know you're going to like them.
You look like an angel, walk like an angel, talk like an angel, but I got wise. You're the devil in skies. Oh, yes, you are. Devil in the
Just when you thought you knew everything about Volvo.
devil in disguise. Oh, yes, you are. The devil in disguise.
So, what do you think?
You're right. Diet Dr. Pepper does taste more like regular Dr. Pepper.
Diet Dr. Pepper, the taste you've been looking for.
If your business gives up the quality of AT&T Pro Watts and calls from Boston to Chicago with someone else, here's your big savings. Leaving AT&T doesn't make a lot of sense.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Miller Lite, an official sponsor of the NFL and Super Bowl 27. By Volvo. Volvo would like you to drive safely. By Jik Tracer. It traces every curve on your face. And by Grape Nuts Cereal. Breakfast with Grape Nuts helps keep you going strong all morning long.
Back at Giants Stadium, Jeff Hostetler and the Giants at the 30-yard line after holding Kansas City on downs. McNair hangs onto that pass. It might have been a first down, but the fumble forced by Miller. The throw to Derek Brown, the rookie from Notre Dame. Twisted out of bounds by Chris Martin at the 37. Yeah, Marty Schottenheimer, like so many coaches around the league, preaches the value of turnovers. Takeaways, the key, and when you're in the plus column, you're going to win. There's the evidence. They lead the league plus 19. The Giants, surprisingly, in a bad year, are plus 4. Usually you look down at those in the negative numbers and the other ones with the losing record. Gerard Bunch, the big fullback from Michigan, to the 45-yard line. Bayless made the tackle, 16 yards for Bunch.
As we mentioned at the top of the show, Dick, this is a good offensive line. And with big Bunch there, they used to call that the crossbuck. They fake it to Rodney Hampton, hand it to Bunch coming the other way. He doesn't carry the ball a great deal, but 6'2", 248, and Rodney Hampton is 224. We're talking a couple of big backs, but that's true of NFC East teams, isn't it, Dick?
Bunch, part of the link, University of Michigan to the Giants. Joe Morris, Ron Johnson, top rushers, and now Bunch. Hostetler to Hampton, and Hampton twists for another first down to the 34-yard line, and the Giants are showing they can move the ball. Derek Thomas made the tackle.
The offense, which is the side of the ball that Ray Handley has been on exclusively here with the Giants. He was a running back coach under Bill Parcells, and the offense has not changed much since Handley became the head coach. And there doesn't seem to be a clear difference, but it looks like the offense likes Ray Handley a little more than the defense.
5 for 5 for the Hawks. No score. 3:33 left in the first period. Bunch again. And he's got about 6 more to the 27-yard line. Kevin Ross, Chris Martin with the tackle. Bunch from Ashtabula, Ohio. And he rushed for over 400 yards on this season. That's more than either Barry Ward, check that, more than Okoye or Harvey Williams. That's a bit of a surprise for the Chiefs. Only Barry Ward with 603 yards has rushed for more than Bunch.
Of course, last year those 3 guys from Kansas City rushed for close to 2,000 yards.
Hampton. And he just carries 3 men with him to the 20-yard line. Another first down. Rodney Hampton. He had 1,059 last year, and he's just about at that number this year. He started today with 1,022.
If we go back one play, Dick, to the Bunch run, watch what happens here. Right through here again, it's this the old fake crossbuck. One tight end. And watch Hampton where he's going out to left. Good job up front by the offensive line of just separating defensive players.
First down at the Chiefs' 20-yard line as the Giants threaten. Hostetler, Callaway out of bounds. Covered by Dale Carter.
There's certainly no question with Hostetler at quarterback, this team offensively has a lot better chance to win Against Phoenix, they had young Mr. Graham and also a young man named Davis trying to break into the NFL. You need experience. There's Kent Graham standing on the sideline. A big kid out of Notre Dame, and he got a lot of activity last week against Phoenix, but you need some sort of steadying influence at quarterback, and Hostetler certainly fills that bill for the Giants.
Ran first 2 years at Notre Dame, then he finished at Ohio State. He does have memories of Lou Holtz approach.
Yes, he does.
2nd and 10.
Breakdown in the Chiefs defense.
That was also a very well-run pick by the 2 outside receivers, Dick. Beautifully executed. There's 1 receiver to go here. It's an out and up run by Ingram, and the pick is executed beautifully by Callaway. Carter 34 was one defensive back out there. We'll give you a look at it. Well done, Giants. They score first.
That's only their 12th touchdown pass all year and equals Kansas City's. Point added by Ken Willis. So you don't hear a lot of cheers here at Giant Stadium, but you might hear them out in San Diego as the Chiefs trail 7-0.
Well, here's the 2 principals. Watch what happens. He goes in, and you got the out and up, and the 2 defensive backs get tangled up. Now, there is a little contact here, but what they're saying is that Carter 34 pushed Callaway into the other defender. Ingram comes wide open, and 6 points. Haas likes it.
70 yards, 7 plays, 7 points.
Everybody hates to eat and run. We'd rather take it slow. But the way this life is going, gotta grab your food and go. And when all that running round catches up with you at last, get yourself some Alka-Seltzer and you'll feel better fast.
For acid indigestion or heartburn with headache, nothing's faster or more effective than Alka-Seltzer.
Get yourself some Alka-Seltzer and you'll feel better fast.
If your face was square, shaving would be simple, but your face has curves. Presenting the revolutionary Schick Tracer, the only twin-blade razor that flexes to follow the curves of your face. Schick Tracer, we're changing the face of shaving.
Gravity. It's more than a fragrance. It's a force of nature. Gravity. For men. You couldn't resist it, even if you tried.
You're married. 2 kids. 1 on the way. A house. A dog. 5 on the way. Loads of other responsibilities too numerous to count. And you want this. Doesn't make sense. But here is an interesting alternative that does. The new Volvo 850 GLT.
As he made the catch from Dave Craig, fumbled at the 30, and the Giants recovered, go 70 yards in 7 plays to take the lead 7-0. Willis kicks it off. A high short spinner. Williams at the 7. And he was pulled down at the 29-yard line, and with that a timeout. 1:50 seconds remaining, opening period. Underdog Giants in the lead.
I'll be home for Christmas if only in my dreams.
Hi, Super Dave Osborne here with Hager wrinkle-free cotton pants. They look great right out of the dryer with no ironing, but Hager's asked me to put them to the ultimate test. I'll wear these pants through high-pressure jets, brushes, and dryers at 3 miles per hour. Ready? Oh, we're out of time. I guess Hager will have to pay me for another commercial. Maybe not. Oh! Oh!
New Hager wrinkle-free cottons. 100% cotton, 0% wrinkles.
They're still not wrinkled.
got to be smart. Maybe you can be one of us. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Well, with the holidays coming up, here's our NBC Sports Christmas special. A couple of NBA games. And at 8 o'clock Eastern Time on Christmas night, an Olympic Christmas, Barcelona memories. Any, just off the top, memories for you and your efforts?
Yeah, having done boxing, Oscar De La Hoya winning the gold medal, the lone gold medal for the U.S. boxing team.
Pablo Morales, we see there. Who
yes.
can forget his remarkable effort coming back out of retirement? Tim Zmeskal, boy, the heartbreak. Shannon Miller becomes the Olympic star for the United States, but the Soviets get the gold, and much, much more. What has happened to those great athletes since Barcelona just a few months ago? That's all on Christmas night here on NBC. 7-0 Giants, 1:50 left in this first period. Protecting the ball, Okoye out to the 32-yard line, a gain of almost 4. Christian, who lost his father just a couple of weeks ago, died in Nigeria. And interestingly told us that because the holidays are a time when families come from all over the country to meet with the grandparents or the parents, that they do not have funerals in December, because that's the time where the families come together, so they have to postpone the funeral to January.
And he will be going to Nigeria, obviously.
He said after the playoffs.
Pleasant young man.
Second down, 7. Craig. Intercepted by Pepper Johnson. Johnson to the 30. Got Craig to beat. And he runs through Craig and is knocked out of bounds at the 5-yard line. Mike Babb saved the touchdown. Pepper Johnson, second of the year.
So the smile on Lawrence Taylor's face from behind the defense. The Giants use a lot of double rotation zone. That's why they're trying to get these running backs and tight ends up through the middle. The corners and safeties are to the outside of the field. Pepper Johnson limping there, limping badly. He's going to have surgery after the season's over to reattach a thigh muscle. Kimball Anders is the intended receiver. Pepper Johnson reads it perfectly. He may complain about Rod Rust's defense, but that defense put him in the right spot for that interception.
And for the Giants, this is the right spot. Inside the 20, 42 times this year. They've scored 40 times. Tough to stop. And they get a couple on first down with Rodney Hampton as Pepper Johnson, Ohio State star, celebrates his second pick of the year.
He is playing on guts. Ray Hanley mentioned to us that, he shouldn't be playing, but he's still out there playing.
Second and goal from the 2 as Dave Craig intercepted for the first time today and for the 10th this year. It's Hampton. Touchdown, and the Giants lead 13-0. Two plays after Pepper Johnson's interception, he embraces Hampton, who converts it into a Giant score.
Well, Dick, 2 turnovers, 2 scores for the New York Giants. Even though the first one was over on downs, it was a fumble recovery by the Kansas City Chiefs. Pretty proficient offense here to start the game for the New York Giants.
14-0 with a handful of seconds left in the first quarter.
Well, there's really nothing to this running play, too. When you've got a big running back and you have confidence in the offensive line, there's a bunch. Everybody just takes a man, and Hampton right up through there is barely touched until he gets to the line of scrimmage. Excellent job of pushing and shoving by the offensive line. Simeon, 54, hits Hampton when he's already in the end zone. And goodness, this is a great start for the Giants and a lousy start for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Dozen touchdowns for Rodney Hampton, part of the great tradition of running backs at Georgia. Followed Herschel Walker, Lars Tate, Tim Worley was there in Athens when he was aboard. Keith Henderson now with the Vikings, and now Garrison Hurst after Hampton. They have tradition boiling with the Dogs at Georgia.
And, of course, when you go to Georgia and you carry the ball, it is heavy work because it's 25 to 30 times a ball game, every ball game if you're a Georgia Bulldog.
And now the workload falls on Marty Schottenheimer's team. They're down 14-0. And as you mentioned, Bob Trumpy, we'd find out if the Giants were here to play by how they performed in the first few minutes. Well, it looks as if we're going to see a game.
They're going to give it their best effort here.
Willis, a very short pick to the sidelines to McNair. And he gets out to the 23-yard line. Jesse Campbell with the stop. Tomorrow, NBC Sports, as you look at the AFC Eastern standings, Buffalo has clinched a playoff berth, but they haven't locked up the Eastern title. Miami, if it wins, they win their last two, and Buffalo loses one. It'll be Miami taking the East, and Buffalo with its hands full tomorrow at the Superdome. That's the first half of our doubleheader.
How about San Diego, Los Angeles Raiders? You suppose people in San Diego, that 619 zip code, glued to their TV sets here this afternoon?
Chargers and the rival Raiders, the second half of the doubleheader. Good lineup again tomorrow. Holiday sports time on NBC. Final play probably of this first period, and it's Okoye protecting the ball as he crosses to the 26-yard line. A gain of 3. Eric Howard, former Washington State star, with a tackle, and that is the end of the first quarter here at Giant Stadium, where this negative crowd has awakened. 14-0.
The Braun Oral-B Plaque Remover is clinically proven to remove plaque, a major cause of gum disease, which affects 3 out of 4 adults. Its unique cup-shaped brush oscillates to thoroughly clean between each tooth and below the gum line, leaving teeth so clean you'll feel the difference. For exceptional plaque removal, the Braun Oral-B Plaque Remover.
Hey, Mom, what's that white thing?
See? New Whitewater Zest.
Uh-oh, it's gonna get me. Smells good.
Zestfully clean. There, doesn't that feel smooth?
Soap leaves a film you can feel on your skin, but new Whitewater Zest rinses cleaner than soap, so your family's skin feels smoother than soap.
Yes, smooth.
Zestfully clean.
You're the guy who took my zest. Poor Daddy.
New Whitewater Zest.
You're not fully clean unless you're zestfully clean.
You can have a great beef dinner in no time at all. Well, almost no time at all. Beef. It's what's for dinner.
New Year's Day, the undefeated third-ranked Southwest Conference champion Texas A&M Aggies, trying to become only the third team in modern history to go 13-0, battle Rick Meyer, Reggie Brooks, Jerome Bettis, and the explosive fifth-ranked Fighting Irish of Notre Dame in the Mobile Cotton Bowl. New Year's Day, more of the nation's best are on NBC.
We open the second quarter at Giant Stadium. Dick Enberg with Bob Trumpy. Beasley Reese with us down on the field. 14-0. A surprising start for the beleaguered Giants. Dave Craig can't complain about the weather. 45 degrees and as light a breeze as you'll ever find this time of the year in the Meadowlands. Okoye moving the pile close to the 30, but that'll leave the Chiefs more than 3 yards from a first down.
And you know, Dick, this Giant defense doing an excellent job up front, which makes me wonder how long Christian Okoye will be in there. Down 14-0, Christian Okoye is not as great a weapon as I think Harvey Williams would be, or even Barry Word. He's got 6 carries for 28 yards, but you need more of a breakaway threat at running back now. Okoye comes out on the passing down, but we may be a little closer to seeing Harvey Williams at length here for Kansas City.
Third down, it's a long 3. Quickey to Hargain, and he has the first down and is pushed rudely back by Jackson and Sparks. Hargain from Oregon, an 8th-round pick a year ago, a Plan B pickup from the 49ers.
Formation called the flush with the 4 wide receivers, and just nice little slant pattern run by Hargain. And Craig able to make the completion.
Hargain, part of a double Oregon tandem. J.J. Burton, a man that Marty saw as an 8th round pick as well when he was at Cleveland, and now has become a star receiver. In fact, leads the Chiefs with 39 catches coming in today. Burton in the slot right. Craig looking long, goes underneath, and Burton makes the catch at the 46-yard line. One duck to another.
The Oregon connection, as you're speaking of, he runs a nice little out pattern. Not even a fake to Christian Okoye. Good pattern run. That zone coverage by the New York Giants. Carl Banks, 58 underneath. Well run, well thrown by Dave Craig. Drive stays alive, Kansas City.
Burton, who was the Pac-10 champion long jumper, 26.5 feet when he was at the campus in Eugene. Now 40 catches, his top year as a pro. Willie Davis in motion. Back to the big fullback, 260-pound Okoye gets a yard, maybe 2. And Pepper Johnson trying to fire up this Giant defense. Handley has to love to see that.
The big change, I think, in this defense is you've got some old dogs on this Giant defense, and for the last 10 years, this defense has been one of the most dominating in the league. And then when Bill Parcells leaves, Handley takes over. Handley brings in Mr. Rust, Rod Rust, who has been hitting around the NFL for a long time. And his defense is a defense of adjustment. So you've got some of these old dogs who don't like to learn new tricks.
They like just that basic stuff that Bill Belichick now with Cleveland ran under Bill Parcells. Line up, put your best people at a spot where they can do their best things and go get them. Down the middle. Incomplete. Tim Barnett had it for a moment, but Lamar McGriggs, who they like him, a big hitter, 2nd year out of Western Illinois, made the hit, and Lawrence Taylor doing some homework trying to help his teammates.
This ball should have been caught. Again, it's zone, and I think Burton reads it correctly. But you see McGriggs, who is, as you said, a big hitter, and the receiver knows when that safety's in there to hit him, and that's Barnett's 2nd drop. LT looking at the Polaroid pictures that they take from upstairs to watch the offense as it unfolds. Sometimes this game gets a little too sophisticated, you know.
Interesting reading. The 3rd and long, Craig in the shotgun. Down the middle, wide open. It's Hargain again, left alone to the 19-yard line. Myron Guyton made the stop. 26 yards.
Dick, again, the double rotation zone by the New York Giants, and the Kansas City Chiefs are doing the right thing. You see this corner come up, the safety go out, and the spot is in here to throw it to. Both times now that they found receivers down the middle. See the corners up, they ride with them a little bit, and then the middle opens wide open. Time for Craig to allow the pattern to develop, and it's a nice completion, and Kansas City rolling here.
11 minutes left, first half. Giants in front, 14-0 as the Chiefs with their deepest penetration. Okoye. And just not hitting that line of scrimmage with a lot of smack. He's protecting the ball, but not a lot of pop as he nails his move.
I mentioned earlier he likes to run to the bubble. The bubble is where the linebackers line up, so there's about a 3-yard gap in there. And if you can get 260 pounds, here's the bubble right here, over the guard here, over the guard here. So you try to run Okoye right at those little dead spots where you're not running at the defensive lineman, but you're running at the linebackers. And 260 pounds running 4.6, it's difficult to drag down before he gets 6 or 7 yards.
If he gets to the 4.6.
If he gets to the 4.6.
Craig underneath again, this time with a tight end. Keith Cash was a wide receiver at Texas and drafted by the Redskins, put on some weight, now 235.
One thing about Rod Rust's defense, it's a pretty simple defense to look at from the offensive standpoint. But as a defensive player, for every motion, for every formation change, there is a slight adjustment in your alignment. And therefore, it takes an awful lot of study. And even some guys here in the Giants admit we probably haven't studied enough of this defense.
A lot of them came in late to camp, got a slow start in learning a new system. It's 3rd down and 4. 10th play of the drive. A quarterback draw. And Craig is to the 5 and the first down. Tackled by Greg Jackson.
Good call. Good call. I mean, Joe Pendry's making the call here on the offense. Dave Craig, not known to run the ball, but as you can see, the middle linebacker is removed. And the free safety has to come all the way up to make the tackle. Greg Jackson. You saw Corey Miller, 57, was across the line of scrimmage there, but excellent, excellent call by the Kansas City Chiefs coaching staff.
Carl Banks, 58, linebacker for the Giants, said this is where we've been absolutely terrible. He said it in stronger words than that. In the red zone, we're just not stopping anyone. It's embarrassing. Okoye to the 1. Guyton up high. The tackle, Eric Dorsey down low.
It's unusual to see traps or pulls by the Kansas City offensive line, but here you see the tackle leading up through. That was John Alt, 76, leading up through the hole for Christian Okoye. Nice pickup.
Announcement that Rich Baldinger, you see Alt on the other side, but Baldinger is an eligible receiver. Well, it's not Baldinger, but Valerio on the right side. 2nd and goal. Okoye. And Lucky hangs on to the football. For Johnson. Little salt with that pepper shot.
Woo! He's not coming from a long way away, but he gets his shoulder square. Bam! Also give credit to Ed Reynolds, 95. That was kind of a combination hit. But
both men weighing 10 pounds less than Okoye.
That was an earthquake. Goodness. Now the fans are fired up. This is Giant-type defense.
Okoye, and he's in for the touchdown. And credit that to the blocking on the right side. Babb, the center, Lutz, Baldinger, Valerio, and Okoye just follows behind. And Johnson looking for another hit, but couldn't quite get there.
And a guy of Christian Okoye's size gets his shoulders lowered slightly. And you can see he gets underneath the shoulder pads of Pepper Johnson. Pepper Johnson not there quite in time, and Okoye in the end zone.
Long time consuming drive, 8 minutes, 2 seconds. As Lowry sets for the extra point. Parker to hold. And the Chiefs cut the Giant lead in half at the midpoint of the 2nd quarter.
It takes strength to go climbing 7 days a week. That's why one compact pickup powers you with the biggest full-size V6 engine you can get. Only Chevy S10 Tahoe 4x4. Chevrolet, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road.
Preferred stock cologne from Stetson. What preferred men prefer.
The Black & Decker Air Station. It has all the pressure you need to inflate anything. Fast. The Black & Decker Air Station. Always at your service.
There's a dry chill blowing down from the Rockies. It's Coors Dry, brewed with pure Rocky Mountain spring water. Double chilled for brewery fresh taste and a finish as clean as ice. Then delivered mountain cold from the Rockies to your store. This is not just a better dry. This is a better beer. Coors Dry. Feel the chill.
Carl Banks in deep thought on the Giant sideline. An articulate, sensitive man who admitted to us that a lot of the veteran players didn't like Rod Rust's defense, were reluctant to give it 100% to learn. He said, I'm not going to blame the coaches. It's just as much our fault.
Yeah, he was willing to share the blame for the situation that they're in, but this is a proud bunch. 8 of the last 10 years, they've won and won big time. This fall has been a hard fall for the New York Giants.
He said, I never thought it could crash so fast. Flag is down. It appeared Kansas City was offside. Dave Meggett tripped up from behind at the 16-yard line, but the Chiefs may have to kick it again. A couple of flags down back at the 35.
I think most coaches would prefer to have the kicking team kick it again, make them sprint another 40 yards. You might be able to pop one through there. Haley says, yeah, let's see if they can stop us again.
First flag today. Pat Haggerty, the man in the white hat.
Offside on the kicking team, number 59.
That's a pretty easy penalty to pick up, wouldn't you agree? I mean, you've got 2 officials standing on either side. Percy Snow, who is the one who was called it. We're not talking about a lot of deception on a kickoff if you're offside. That's a lack of concentration, Dick.
Well, they're going to set it up at the 30. Not that Lowry has one of the long legs in the league, but there are some who would argue, and I think I'd have to join them, that, well, you're not supposed to have signs here. That one will be taken care of shortly, apparently. I was going to say that some would argue that the kickoff spot should be the 30-yard line so that we get more kickoff returns there, like the Brad DeLuiso of the world, who can kick the ball in the end zone time after time to take away the return. We moved it from the 40 to 35. Why not move it to the 30?
Well, because you've got 28 defensive coordinators in the NFL.
Voting against it, huh?
Yes. We'd rather start at the 20.
You mean my vote doesn't count at all?
No.
So Lowry again from the 30. Very short. Meggett coming up at 16-yard line. And he's almost to the 30, where the Giants will take over, and some spirited after the whistle play back to back.
Geez, the Giants treating Kansas City like they're an NFC East opponent.
6:54 left in this first half. Ray Handley not able to smile, but it is positive for the moment.
I am a father of 6 and a firefighter and a paramedic, so I require a great deal of energy.
Steve Cook discovers breakfast with Grape Nuts for a week.
Grape Nuts kept me going every single morning. I felt good.
Grape Nuts, the fat-free natural energy source.
I love Grape Nuts. I like the fact that it stayed crunchy in the milk. I'm sold on the Grape Nuts, and I'll stick with the Grape Nuts forever.
Breakfast with Post-Grape Nuts cereal helps keep you going strong all morning long.
I think after a week, anyone would be sold on Grape Nuts.
These cars seem pretty much the same. But the more you get to know Chevy Lumina Euro, the more you realize you get more car for your money. Like a bigger standard engine, standard anti-lock brakes, air conditioning, and more room. Lumina even has a higher resale value than Taurus. More car for your money when you buy it, more money for your car when you sell it. What else would you expect from the heartbeat of America?
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Starter. Look for the stars and you'll find Starter. By the heartbeat of America, Chevrolet and your local Chevy dealer. By Coors Light, the Silver Bullet is the right beer now. And by the card, the American Express card. Don't leave home without it.
14-7, the Giants leading Kansas City. The Chiefs win away from the playoffs. 2 wins in their last 2 games to win the AFC West. Hostetler to Otis Anderson, the veteran running back of the Giants, gets a hand as he moves it 5 yards forward. O.J., great number 1 pick by the St. Louis Cardinals in '79. Had some big 1,000-yard years, 10,000 now in his terrific career. Then didn't play for a couple years and found a new home here in New York and was the most valuable player 2 years ago in the Super Bowl.
One of the great motivators of this football team from inside the clubhouse, inside the locker room.
Even Ray Handley commenting that Anderson, who has just carried only the 3rd time all year, has been a positive influence on young backs like this one. Jared Bunch, first down at the 44.
Yeah, even when we talked to Rodney Hampton, he was willing to give credit to O.J. Anderson for teaching him how to play the game on and off the field. That's one of the legacies that I've always liked about the New York Giants under Bill Parcells. I think it started with George Martin, defensive lineman a number of years ago. Got a lot of players go to college. Then Harry Carson passed on to O.J. Anderson and Phil Simms. Very responsible group of players here with the New York Giants.
Bill Parcells certainly loved that number 24. Oh, punch hit in the backfield by Neil Smith. Smith on his way to another Pro Bowl as the ballots will be sent out this week, leading the Chiefs in sacks with 13.5. But always tough against the run, even when he wasn't the big sack guy.
He's at the top of the screen. It's almost naked here by the running back, Jared Bunch. There's not much help out there in front of him. Neil Smith beats the block inside of Derek Brown, the tight end, the young rookie out of Notre Dame. And Neil Smith puts Mr. Bunch to the ground in a hurry.
Still wearing that advantage of the broken nose he suffered way back in the early part of the year. Leading the team in sacks and pressures.
Kansas City had to take a timeout because Neil Smith couldn't get his helmet on there. It's not a good idea to be taking a snap defensively with a helmet in your hand.
His Nebraska Cornhuskers will be in the Orange Bowl on New Year's night against high-powered Florida State. Oh, what a time of the year for the sports fan on NBC. 14-7, the Giants timeout.
I think I'm the only man in the world being named after a bar, Harris Bar in Venice. And my father, Giuseppe, opened for business in 1931. In all my life, all I know has been told to me by watching my father. He was a man that never gave importance to money. He gave importance to the customers, he gave importance to the business, because he knew that the money would come after that. My mother didn't agree very much, but there it was. We now have 2 restaurants in Venice and 2 restaurants in New York. My world ends at my door. I believe that people that appreciate a place like this are inclined to visit more places and to see more of the world. I think having a car, the world becomes smaller.
American Express is welcomed at Harry's Bar, and just about anywhere else Harry's been.
The more you take away from this Chevy Cavalier VL, the more it resembles the Honda Civic DX. Take away Cavalier's anti-lock brakes, base coat clear coat paint. Take away its 2-sided galvanized steel, automatic door locks, Scotchgard treated seats, and toll-free 24-hour roadside assistance. But there's at least one thing you'd have to add. $1,500. The Chevy Cavalier. What else would you expect from the heartbeat of America?
Christmas Day, a special NBA doubleheader gift. First, Olympic hero David Robinson and the San Antonio Spurs make their first trip to L.A. to take on their old coach Larry Brown and the Clippers. Then in prime time, Michael Jordan and the world champion Bulls meet their toughest opponents from last season's playoffs, the New York Knicks. Christmas Day on NBC.
NFL, a contact game.
Yeah, when I was playing, I wore hard contact lenses. Those are Bart Oates contact lenses. They had to be replaced. I lost 20 pair when I was playing. Wasn't Mel Blunt knocked them off my eyes, and so did Jack Lambert. People like that.
You don't hear well yet. It was not in your eyes.
That's good.
Derek Brown right through his hands. The #1 pick from Notre Dame. He has just 3 catches this year. Hostetler says, you're holding my man.
That was Tracy Simeon in coverage. You see Simeon on the right side of the screen. There's definitely contact there. No question about that. It's very hard in a crowd to catch the ball if you don't see it released from the quarterback's hand. And Derek Brown was, to say the least, a little busy with Tracy Simeon.
Brings up 3rd and 10 for the Giants, who lead 14-7. Just under 5 minutes left in this first half. Kansas City now with more yardage after the Giants jumping out to the 14-0 lead. Had accumulated more yards. Hostetler running through his own man. Shows good speed and a slide to a first down at the 45 of Kansas City.
Dick, that's a chance you take with the defense that Kansas City had. They had 4 defensive linemen and 7 defensive backs. There was nobody there to spy on the quarterback. They had 1 guy to take care of Dave Meggett, but then Hostetler has nobody to worry about once he gets by the line of scrimmage, and he does pick up the first down. There's the 4 up front. All the rest are defensive backs, and once he cleared the line of scrimmage, easy pickings for him.
On first down now, Otis Anderson, the veteran, gets a yard. Joe Phillips on waivers from San Diego made the stop along with Tracy Simeon. There's Joe, who lucky to be able to play the game. Last year at San Diego, a late night scuffle, and some men literally almost kicked the life out of him. His head, concussions, fractures, and lost the season. Unhappy with the Chargers and their contract offers, has found his way to Kansas City, and because of his presence, Marty goes to the 4-3. He's a 310-pounder in the middle of that defensive line. Hostetler wide open on the sidelines is Callaway. They call it a catch. 29-yard line. Dale Carter, the rookie corner.
Boy, there's the experience speaking. Now, this is excellent coverage by Carter. The ball intentionally underthrown. And Callaway comes back for the catch. That's his 3rd of the day. That's a lot of time spent on the practice field between the quarterback and the receiver. Excellent timing. Callaway turns at just the right moment. I don't know how a defense can stop that play.
And that's a real tough pass here at the Meadowlands when you have the big winds, 20, 30-mile-an-hour winds, because that ball just gets carried away. But literally no life in the breeze today, and that's to the benefit of both quarterbacks. 14-7 Giants. Anderson pulling his way like a young pup into the 23-yard line. Charles Mincy with the tackle.
Dick, you know, the Giants offensively doing nothing fancy here. They are just beating the Kansas City Chiefs defensive line at the line of scrimmage. There's no trap. There's no pull. Watch the center, guard, and tackle top of the screen, pushing and shoving Kansas City off the ball. That is excellent, outstanding movement by the New York Giants offensive line, and they'll beat anybody in the game pushing the defense back that far on every snap.
Ray Handley's team now inside the 25, and they might let the clock tick down to the 2-minute timeout. That's exactly what they're going to do. This is an old-fashioned New York drive. 6 runs, 2 passes. The old man, pillow man, Bill Parcells called him, Otis Anderson in there.
Why drive an imitation when you can drive the vehicle that originated the species? Chevy Blazer.
And so, Miss Adams, what do you think?
You're right, Professor. Diet Dr. Pepper does taste more like regular Dr. Pepper.
Diet Dr. Pepper. The taste you've been looking for.
If your business gives up the quality of AT&T International Long Distance and calls Italy with someone else, here's your big savings.
3 coins in the fountain.
Leaving AT&T doesn't make a lot of sense.
Man, I'm having a problem with this thing. Ask the brain.
For anyone who ever had to put anything together under pressure, we've got something special for you.
The KFC Holiday Meal Deal. Feed a family of 4 with our delicious chicken, large mashed potatoes with gravy, coleslaw, and 4 hot baked biscuits.
Where does this
Plus,
go?
you get a free savings book worth up to $75 on selected Mattel toys at Toys R Us or participating retailers. The KFC Special $9.99 Holiday Meal Deal.
The Bills. The Saints. The AFC's top offense battles one of the NFL's premier defenses. Then the Chargers. The Raiders. The electrifying Chargers have won 9 of their last 10, vaulting to the top of the AFC West. Lightning strikes twice Sunday.
O.J. Anderson, he'll be 36 next month. Parcells called him Pillow Man because he would soften it up for the younger backs.
Yes, he would.
Play the role.
Wear him down.
Leading 14-7. It's Anderson to the 21-yard line, where it'll be 3rd down and 2. Martz and Saliamua make the tackles.
Oh, boy, this is awfully reminiscent of the way the Giants used to play when they were great. And we noticed on the sideline that Lawrence Taylor, even though he's out there in street clothes, maybe going for one more sack, you know, one more 3rd down and short. Old habits die hard, taping his fingers to play there.
Lawrence with the Achilles tear, and I like the feeling generally is around Lawrence Taylor that if he can rehabilitate, he'll play again next year with the Giants. This is not the way he wants to go out. Timeout called by the Chiefs. They didn't have the right people on the field, and Marty Schottenheimer gets a timeout. It comes with 1:18 left in this first half.
We'll take the flip, the kick, the headbutt, and the taunt. Throw in that and that. Looks good. Give me the field, too. Grab the stadiums. Grab that. Grab that. Do you have anything in a clothesline tackle? Good. Give me that. Give me the wave. No, no, yes. We'll take that, that. The dive. Party time. Let's do that and that. Not that, that, and that. Give me that again. Timeout. If it's in the game, it's in the game. John Madden Football 93 for Super NES and Sega Genesis.
Where'd that truck come from?
EA Sports. It's in the game.
There's a dry chill blowing down from the Rockies. It's Coors Dry, brewed with pure Rocky Mountain spring water. Double chilled for brewery fresh taste and a finish as clean as ice. Then delivered mountain cold from the Rockies to your store. This is not just a better dry. This is a better beer. Coors Dry. Feel the chill.
Ray Handley may not be all that popular here, but he might be winning some fans in San Diego and in Denver as his Giants lead 14-7 at halftime. Our Domino's Pizza halftime report. Is he the most valuable player this year? Steve Young. Boy, to talk about filling an immortal shoes, Joe Montana. He'll be a subject of one of our features. And name the best 4 linebackers on a team in the NFL.
They're from New Orleans. Swilling, Vaughn Johnson, Ricky Jackson, and who am I leaving out?
Sam Mills. See, he's always been overlooked. But what a Tiger, and that's the team that'll be facing Buffalo, trying to not deny the Bills tomorrow here on NBC. And some would say there's the 4 best linebackers on one team.
Certainly started a run of 56s at linebacker the way our Orenthal James started a run of 32s for running backs, didn't he?
Even Derek Thomas talking about he might wear a 56 in the preseason in tribute to Taylor next year if Taylor does retire. This is a 3rd and 2 play in the shotgun. Hostetler in field goal range. To Meggett, and he's got a blocker, Riesenberg. And Meggett close to the first down. It appears he has it. Yes, he does.
Boy, that's a nice play. There's really no jeopardy here. You get a chance to get an offensive lineman out in front. It'll happen to the left. Watch what happens. Riesenberg pulls. Oh, nice little. You saw the cutback there by Cross, 87, coming in on the outside linebacker. Well, that's a play. I have a feeling, you know, when teams pass films around, other teams are going to pick up on that play. That worked beautifully. Riesenberg out there in front. Nice block by Cross. A nice pickup for the first down.
Reese Enberg, one of the few Enbergs left in the NFL. He played his ball at California and grew up in Moscow, Idaho, where his father is a department chairman at the University of Idaho.
He is one of a pair of offensive tackles here that are very, very good. Jumbo Elliott on the other side. Good security for this franchise for a number of years.
Testimony again to the Giants' success inside the 20, scoring 41 of 43 times. He scored the one-time in today. Open up, Cross drops the ball and almost dropped it in the lap of Martin Bayless. Howard Cross, who was the roommate of Derek Thomas 4 years at Alabama.
Well, they don't throw a lot to the tight ends, but I mean, unless it's hand delivered, I don't know that it could be an any better pass. Cross, who Derek Thomas told us when he started at Alabama, was 200 pounds, and Derek Thomas and Cornelius Bennett used to beat up on the poor kid every day. And the next year he was at 220, and then the next year he was at 240, and then Thomas said that was pretty even when he got to 240.
Second and 10 with 1:08 left in the half. Giants with a touchdown lead, looking for more. Anderson, and the second and long play did not fool Chris Martin, number 57. But the Giants using up the clock not only in scoring range, but trying to chew up time so that Kansas City will not have any opportunity after they either give up the ball or score.
And the Giants have come in with their 4 wide receivers in the lineup with Dave Meggett as the running back. So Kansas City counters with 7 defensive backs again. Dick.
Derek Thomas lining up on the right side. It's 3rd and 7. Isolated on the rookie cornerback, Dale Carter. A beautiful throw by Hostetler. He had only inches to feed that one to his receiver.
Now the Chiefs come, they take a big chance. They come in with the 7 defensive backs and go with the blitz.
Callaway with his first touchdown of the season. Willis adds the extra point. And a surprising number on the board here at Giant Stadium. New York leading 21-7.
Here's the receiver right up here, but you see the 7 defensive backs, and they're trying to flush. Excellent job here by the 2 guys up front. Cross is one, Meggett is the other for blocking. Hostetler has the time. Kansas City taking a big chance. He pumps twice and then makes an excellent catch. Carter, 34 in coverage. And watch the hand fighting here between the 2. Callaway just gets by his shoulder. Perfectly thrown by Hostetler. Absolutely perfectly thrown.
Team that scored only 11 touchdowns all year in the air get 2 of this first half as the Hoss has returned. Now the Giants' last 3 possessions, 3 touchdowns. That one 70 yards and 13 plays. And Kansas City will be a troubled team going into that locker room.
This is a little early to bring up, but Kansas City faces Denver and John Elway next week. A win today, they're in the playoffs. A loss, and everything rides on that game next week against John Elway and the Broncos.
Because Denver, should they beat Kansas City, if the Chiefs would lose today, it's Denver who moves ahead of them in the tiebreak. But we are getting way ahead of ourselves. Willis, line drives it. Williams at the 5. Kneels down at the 5, and I guess just doesn't want to take a chance of a fumble.
What's he doing? I think he thought he was in the end zone.
Harvey.
Now
he's smiling as if he might have made a mistake, but perhaps Marty said, hey, don't take any chances, don't fumble, and Williams might have taken him to the letter of the...
That's Kurt Schottenheimer, the special teams coach. Dick, I don't know any value in that particular move there by Harvey Williams, and I think someone will at least ask for an explanation at halftime.
That may be reflective of the Chiefs' play this first half. Just not really sharp. And the Giants, who were expected to be lulled into an easy win by a team going for the playoffs, Kansas City, just the reverse. The Giants growling 21-7. We're at the intermission. 2 touchdown passes from Jeff Hostetler, who said, I want to play. I don't like the negative things that I'm hearing. I'll play for Ray Handley, and play he has. And the Giant spirit, O.J. Anderson, involved as well. 21-7 for the Giants. Now let's go to the Domino's Pizza halftime report. Bob Costas.
This is the Domino's Pizza NFL Live halftime report, brought to you by Domino's. Nobody knows like Domino's how you like pizza at home.
Well, if this holds, and the Chiefs with that less than daring offense O.J. talked about on the pregame show, not a great come-from-behind team, this really could open the door for San Diego. They play the Raiders in Los Angeles tomorrow. San Diego, which started the year at 0-4, could win the AFC West. Now, tomorrow on NBC, we have a doubleheader. The game most of you will see early is the Saints and the Bills. New Orleans is 11-3. They're already in the playoffs. A big part of the reason, as it is every year, their great core of linebackers. O.J. takes a look at the Saints linebackers.
When we step on the floor of that dome, then it's serious business. You know, all the kidding, all the joking is put on the back burners. It's time to get after somebody. And we know as soon as we walk out there and put that helmet on, the crowd starts to scream, and it's showtime.
At this point in the league, I don't think there's anybody any sport that's better.
Pat Swilling and Ricky Jackson on the outside, Sam Mills and Von Johnson on the inside. They came together in 1986 with the foundation being veteran Ricky Jackson.
Ricky's a unique guy. I think he's a definite Hall of Fame candidate. I'm talking about football Hall of Fame. Whether he'll make it or not, I don't know, because this team hasn't had, you know, Super Bowl wins and that kind of stuff. But I think the guy is a potential Hall of Famer. I really do.
The Saints' leading tackler is a 5'9" three-time Pro Bowler who took the long road to the NFL.
My first stop off was in Cleveland, and I lasted about 30 days through the training camp there, where I didn't make it. And then from then, I went on to the Canadian Football League, and I lasted about 30 days there. Same thing happened. I didn't make it. And then finally, I got a chance to play in the USFL under Coach Jim Moore. And once I started playing for Coach Moore, when he got the job out here, he decided to bring me out here in New Orleans, and I've been here since.
Vince Tobin was our defensive coordinator and linebacker coach. And we'd come in every day. This was our first training camp, and we didn't know any of these guys. And I'd ask the position coaches to rank their guys. And Vince would always rank Sam Mills #1. I'd say, Vince, we can't win with a 5'9" linebacker, you know. Guy's too short. We came somewhat close to letting him go. Not real close, because the guy's a player. But it had been the biggest mistake I'd ever made in my coaching career.
The defense has given up the fewest points and recorded the most sacks. The core of the league's top defense is the linebackers.
How do you think you guys stack up with the great groups of linebackers?
I think we have 4 linebackers that can really, really play the game. We have 2 guys in Mills and Johnson to play the run, you know, as good as anyone. I think over the last 5 to 6 years, me and Ricky Jackson probably have more sacks than any other duel in the National Football League. We put up the numbers, and I think when our career is over as a foursome, when all of us are through playing, you go back and you look at the Pro Bowls, you look at all the accomplishments, the tackles, the sacks, we'll be right up there with the tops. I don't think there's anyone or any group that's any better than we are right now.
Is he correct in that assessment?
Yeah, I think they'll go down as one of the great linebacker groups of all time, maybe the best. And when you look at Pittsburgh, we had Ham and Lambert in the Hall of Fame, and of course with Carson and Banks and Taylor. Those are great linebacker groups, but I've never seen a group of linebackers year in and year out play as consistent as this group.
They can run to the ball as well as any group ever, Bob, but I think the thing you have to look at New Orleans now, they're really the dark horse in this whole playoff thing. Right now, they started the first 6 games of the year, they averaged 14 points a game. Now they are averaging over the last 8, 25 points a game, and that's a lot of points for the Saints with that kind of a defense going for them.
And who knows, they might have had the best record in the NFC and home field advantage had they not lost that game they led at Candlestick against the 49ers. Very important regular season game. And coming up, the subject will be 49er quarterback Steve Young. That's after a message from the NFL and this word from your local stations.